All right, leaders for coho. Crack a beer. £12 Maxima. Breast to hand. Perfection loop. Done. Actually not done. There are times when we want to go a little bit deeper when it comes to coho fishing. 4-foot leader, 12-pound test off a sink tip can catch a ton of fish in a lot of scenarios, and quite honestly is probably all you need in those scenarios. But geeking out a bit and understanding where the fish are and how they're reacting to your leader can change the game for you. I'm gonna share with you what I use when I'm out guiding when it comes to sometimes this guy, the 4-foot chunk of 12-pound Maxima, but where I geek out a bit, where I get technical a bit, where I want to make things a little bit more specific to the spots. As always, guys, you want to see videos like this, consider hitting the sub button. Let's get into her. All right, guys, thanks for joining. We're gonna take a look at coho leaders, obviously, and I wanted to sort of preface this. We're fishing Pacific Northwest areas, ranging from rivers that are super slack and slow to rivers that are classic sort of glacial fed, high gradient, all the way to high pressure sort of dam fed rivers. And every single area with coho will be specific. Coho are really cool. They can be really aggressive and really bitey, but also extremely picky. And there's certain kinds of waters that are not good for fly fishing for coho. And there's certain ones where if you can find them there, you can find them unpressured. It's almost a sure thing and you don't need to think too hard. I had a friend that said once that car keys and a piece of rope could catch coho in certain water, and he's probably right. So that 12-pound leader that I was joking about earlier, this is my steelhead leader. I pretty much don't change this no matter where I go in the Pacific Northwest when it comes to steelhead, and it totally works for coho. So just so we're on the same page, there's 3 lines that I have in my coho kit. There's a couple different ways you can do that. The first one is a full intermediate line. This is gonna be for your bigger rivers that are really slow. So for the local Vancouver guys, that's gonna be your Harrison style rivers, or your very, very deep spots on canyon style rivers around the lower mainland or farther afield down the Pacific Northwest. Now the other line is going to be a type 326 sink tip. Critical, probably my most used line when it comes to coho fishing and one you want in the kit. The last one is going to be a clear intermediate sink tip, one that sinks very slowly. We're gonna use these in all different scenarios, different spots for picky fish and non-picky fish. If you guys want one line, probably the Rio Versa tip is the go-to to get you started on coho fishing. But as we get farther into it, you'll realize that loop-to-loop connections are maybe not the perfect scenario if you know exactly the river you're fishing on, the exact kind of spots you're fishing on. Getting dialed in and getting the exact line for what you want is useful. Now, this good old 12-pound leader is gonna fit all of those lines and work. But where might we need some more precision, some more stealth, so to say, and that's going to be when you have clear water or you have not moving water with high light. And so what I'm gonna do first, and this is what I do almost always when I start out coho fishing for days, I'm gonna start with this leader, this 4-foot, I call it breast to hand, I'm 6 feet tall. This is a breast to hand foot leader. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our Seaguar 12-pound fluorocarbon. You can see that right here. Now, a lot of you guys might be like, well, this is 12 and this is 12. Why are you guys combining them? Well, the diameter of this is dramatically less. This is a diameter of 0.011. Maxima doesn't even list their diameter on this because they know it's going to be way thicker than the competition. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna use an arm length, not a breast to hand, just an arm length. So from here to here, plus or minus. Again, this is probably a little less than 3 feet when you consider that I'm 6 feet tall and a full breast span is going to be 6 feet. Oh, by the way, if there are any dentists out there, I apologize. For you kids out there, don't use your teeth, use some nippers. Now, the knot we're gonna use, and I firmly recommend if you're rigging up the night before, is going to be a blood knot. And we're gonna do one less turn on the Maxima side because Maxima is so much thicker than 12-pound fluorocarbon. And so what we're going to do is we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, pinch, come back, go through, and then flip it around. And on the other side of things, we're going to do one more on this side. 5, I might even put a 6th one in there for good measure. And now we're gonna take that and go back through the base. This isn't a knot tying video. If you guys want this knot, just Google search or YouTube search blood knot. It is the best line to line knot when we are talking about things that are simple. So there we have it, the blood knot, ready to rock and roll, nice and clean. This knot is really flat laying, which is what we want. We want it to turn over and lay flat. But if you guys are out in the field, a double or triple surgeons is totally fine, totally gonna get you in the game on this setup. But you do find that when you're tying fluorocarbon to monofilament, you have to be a little bit careful with your knots because the fluorocarbon is more dense than the monofilament, so it can cut through it if you don't get your knot right. So make sure to test your knots before you cut them. All right, so that's my go-to starting off the day leader, whether it's sort of clear or it's dirty. I just know that I'm gonna be in the game with it. But what if I'm in a scenario with high pressure, very clear water, sunny days? That's sort of the worst case scenario when it comes to coho fishing. They can go from being super aggressive to no hope in heck of biting a fly. I'm gonna go way down in my fly size, but I'm also going to add another arm length. And I'm gonna go up there, I'm gonna take 10-pound fluorocarbon, exactly like we just discussed, and I'm gonna add that into the mix. Now, you guys were wondering about the Fluoroflex Plus. I also love this stuff, but note that I need to go a little bit heavier with it because it's not quite as durable as the straight blue label, which I really prefer for straight line casting. Flip it around and we're nymphing with hard hook sets and lighter line. This is the go-to, but I prefer blue label when it comes to a straight line cast and strip presentation, which we're going to be doing most of the time when it comes for coho. All right, guys, I hope that helps you select your coho leaders when you're getting out. The KISS principle is super important in this fishery. You're gonna be casting a lot. You're gonna be throwing flies into ugly spots and snaggy spots because the coho really like slow, stagnant water where they can pod up, usually where there's a bunch of stuff to catch your line on. But try these leaders, see how it goes. Down in the description below, if you guys have a different leader system that you like, throw it down there. I'd love to try it. And also, if you guys want to have some ideas of what flies to use, we've got a What's in My Coho fly box that we did a few years ago that you can check out right here. And as always, you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you in the next video.